This week on the Best of the West, we travel to Mexico with Bob Foulkrod hunting desert sheep on the world-famous Tiburon Island.
You gotta have a heart to be a sheep hunter, and you gotta have your mindset right.
We also travel to Washington on a mule deer hunt with a viewer submission. You don't want to miss this adventure. Right here on the Best of the West.
We got into Phoenix a couple days early. This hunt came up real quick. It was like I was actually down in Texas hunting coyotes and got a call from Bob Jacobs at J&M Safari saying that he broke his ribs and he couldn't go on this hunt. So here I am, 15 days later. Had a lot of work to do. Best of the West sent a rifle out and had to get a 44-57, so we went to customs and got that taken care of. And been on an elliptical machine every day, so we're ready. My mind's ready. I'm excited. The big island that everybody talks about right there. It's where all the big sheep are. Read about it, heard about it. People talking about it for years. Now we get a chance to hunt it.
It only took about 10 minutes by boat to arrive on Tiburon Island. They then packed all of their gear into vehicles and took a 45-minute ride into camp.
Home away from home.
After meeting everyone in the camp and getting situated, Bob takes his rifle out to confirm accuracy after the long trip down to Mexico. With shots expected to be 500 yards and beyond, Bob decided to bring his Hunter Elite 7mm rifle system.
Well, that was 515, so we dialed that, and we tried it at basically 100 and 200, but when you get something like this where you know you may have to stretch it, then you want to try it right out to what you think you're going to be shooting at. So we got it back to square one now. We'll put the cap back on it. Turn your power back down. Come up, make sure it's empty. Drop the hammer down. That way if a outfitter or guide, anybody's looking at that, they can see that hammer's down and everybody's safe in the truck. So now we'll go back and tell some stories around the campfire. It's our first morning. Basically pulled everybody up into this. I had spotters out last week. All these little hills, mountains, especially on the other side, they found sheep all over. We got a guy up here right in the skyline now walking, so we're just letting everything break open as far as daylight so we can see before we go any further.
The Best of the West is brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation, Cryptek Camo, Hawkins Precision, Polestar Outdoors, Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable, Huskamaw Optics, and LongRangeStore.com. Brady Palmer and Amy Spoon have been using the Huskamaw Advantage now for over 7 years. They're both avid outdoorsmen from Washington State. And this season, Brady drew a rut mule deer tag in the Cascade Mountains of central Washington. Amy knew this would be an amazing hunt if the weather cooperated, and knew it would be a great hunt to capture on film.
Just getting in here this morning. Just got enough camera light and we're already into a bunch of does, so keep your fingers crossed. It's fun up here playing in the snow.
Hi, I'm Jared Peterson, and I work in the customer service department here at the Best of the West. One of the calls that we get is how to read zero for a new shooter or a new environment or a new elevation. For example, when you go out to the range and you shoot at 600 yards and you're grouping 4 inches low, that is 2 clicks. With our Husky scope, that is a 1/3 MOA. So now that we've made our 2-click adjustment, we want to make sure our turret shows that we are on at 600 yards. So we're gonna unscrew this top screw. You can use a penny or anything. Then you're going to lift it up and then line it up at 600 yards. Screw it back down and you should be ready to go. If you have any other questions, please give us a call and we'd be happy to help.
On a hunt like this one, there are many guides that spread out to glass different canyons in order to be more effective. It doesn't take long into the morning before some sheep are spotted.
Well, they spotted some sheep. We don't know how big they are, but I would say they're going to be worth looking at, or we wouldn't be putting these packs on making a trip up that mountain.
You ever saw that one?
No. All right, that's a long way.
He says it's a really big one.
Okay. Well,
He said it was a nice one.
yeah, there's 2 of them. Oh, I seen a bunch of ewes and some small rams. And then I seen the ewes over here, but they're right in between. They popped over.
Nice.
And that's where we did see the 2 big ones last week. So.
This time of year, the average temperature is 100 degrees on Tiburon Island. This leaves small time windows to stalk throughout the day, early in the mornings and later in the evenings.
We saw 2 rams, very nice rams, both of them. One got lots of mass, maybe 180, 185 plus. And the other one looks very nice. It's not as gross as the other one, but it's wider. Both of them are laying down near a cave. It's about 1,500 yards maybe from here.
How long is it going to take us, you think? About an hour and a half, hopefully.
Well, we started up the mountain for them, but some ewes and small rams were going up into the shade, and the big rams heard the rocks. They couldn't see them, so they got up and went over the top. So now it's back to square one. We're going to go around the mountain and see if we can spot them from the other side. They'll probably be laying in the shade there someplace, but trying to find them is another thing. But it's the first day.
Later that afternoon, the crew took the vehicles around to the backside of the mountain, hoping to glass the rams up again. They were unable to be located. Bob is hopeful they'll find them the next day. The best by the Wild Sheep Foundation, Cryptek Camo, Hawkins Precision, Defiance Custom Actions, Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable, Huskamaw Optics, and LongRangeStore.com. We're back in the Cascades of Central Washington, chasing after monster mule deer in early November with Brady Palmer and Amy Spoon.
So one of the coolest things just happened. We were driving out and we spotted a deer up there, and it was worth, we thought, getting on camera. So we got out of the truck, did a little loop on it, walked up the hill, tried to get in front of it, and then there was just deer everywhere. There's really cool 2-point, couple spikes fighting, but that one, he was a nice deer, and hopefully we don't kick ourselves for not shooting that thing later. But then, I don't know, he bedded down, and even this little tiny spike walked right past Brady. He could have touched it.
Am I stupid not to shoot that up?
It was the coolest thing. It was kind of little deer chaos, but a lot of fun, really cool. Got me all jacked up. There's deer in here for sure. I'm sure we were just in the middle of them.
Wow, that gets your heart pumping. Big mature mule deer like that would have been a great bow kill. It's a 3x4 at Wake Forks, but I mean, who cares about the score? It's the first day though, I'm having too much fun, I don't want to end it. I could have touched that spike. That's awesome. Alright, well, let's get out of here. Pretty fresh. I can see a good buck up there. They're up at the very top of it. Oh yeah, that might be a shooter. Yeah, that's a good buck. We gotta figure out how we can. There's a deer. See him coming out in the opening? Ready on him? Now he's moving back to the right. Back to the left. Gonna follow that doe out. You on him?
Second morning, woke up, had something to eat. It was 80 degrees right off the bat, you know. We're almost back into where we was yesterday, trying to find those big sheep.
We're trying to see some of the sheep coming down the hills early in the morning, go from bedding up on top of the hills down to the valleys, and that's what we're trying to do today, trying to spot them when they're going down before it gets very hot. So
I got one.
you got one?
Yeah. Let me help you guys out. I know you're struggling this morning.
Right?
No, he's dead center. Yeah, he's facing right.
Dale spotted the sheep and we're headed that direction. This is just, I mean, this is what I like about sheep hunting. It's no matter what your pocketbook is, you gotta climb one of these mountains. Some are big, some are small. But if you decide you want to take the slam, I guarantee you're gonna work for it. You gotta have a heart to be a sheep hunter. And you gotta have your mindset right. It's easy to get the body in shape, but it's tough for a lot of people to get their mind in shape.
After locating the ram, Bob decided to keep hunting for an older age ram. So they backed out of the area, hoping to find one of the old rams the following morning.
We got early start. Like it's 20 after 6. We've been walking for a half hour. So we're trying to get a jump up on them. We got a big ram. He was feeding, but he was still moving out pretty good, so I'm not sure whether he knows we're here or not, but he's working his way up toward the top.
This old smart trophy ram never smelt or saw the hunters, but just knew something wasn't right and left the basin. Bob and his guides couldn't follow the ram due to the extreme terrain, so they backed out to the adjacent drainage to try and find the ram again. But the old 185 class ram would remain the one that got away. We'll be right back after the break with the best of the West.
We've got one of the finest long-range firearms manufacturers in the world, that being Best of the West. They recognize the importance of bringing youth into hunting, and they're reaching out and doing that, furnishing those firearms to Polestar.
Right, we're at 375. There's the 400, 375, okay.
That's all part of what we have to do to keep bringing young people into the hunting world and the shooting world.
Time changes things, and you know, you have the concept in the big national picture, how the negativity on firearms that's going on so much rampant right now, and we need to ensure our young people that that's not the case, especially in Wyoming, in our area, that it's just important to include them in what we're doing.
And that's what I am excited about Polestar, Best of the West, our youth. And something special now with the youth is this long-range concept, and they've reached out and include them in their Huskamaw Challenge. They have a youth division, and as obvious looking at us, at our age, we need to be replaced in the hunting world.
Polestar is an amazing, amazing organization. I'm glad I found out about it. Thankful for the people we've met through this. Got lots of memories in a short period of time already. I want to thank them for reaching out to youth of all ages and all aspects of their lives and goals and dreams. For those of you that are not aware of Polestar, you better be reaching out. It's amazing.
His main thing is they want food on the table. Isn't that right, Ian?
That's right.
The other
Food
day,
to feed the family.
Food to feed the family. That's the way that God created it. I mean, you don't have to read very far in the book of Genesis in the Bible. It says that he created them and he gave Adam and Eve them rule over them. And we don't abuse it, but we use it. This is our supermarket right here. As we travel down the road, all these farmers are feeding our groceries. So we're excited tonight to be out with Polestar Outdoors. Got him. All right, take a look, man. Polestar Outdoors. 12-year-old Scotty, first night out. He spotted it, got it. First shot, perfect shot. So we are so thankful.
You did? No. Yeah, I got it.
His mentor is Brandon, and Brandon is from the Polestar Outdoors chapter. It's called Tri-County in Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. And he wanted to come out here. He wanted to shoot a buck, and he did. But he also wanted to help a newbie, a young student get their first deer. So Brandon was with you and guided you and set you up and talked you through it, didn't he?
Yeah. That was fun.
That was great. Well, Mom, thanks for letting us have the privilege of doing that.
Thank you for taking him.
So if you feel the need for something for your kid or your kid's struggling or not even struggling, just want to have a positive experience, it's a great organization. So thanks, Polestar.
Thanks, Polestar. Thank you, Polestar, for everything.
Brady Palmer and Amy Spoon just got a glimpse of a great buck on the brushy hillside here in central Washington.
Yeah, that's a good buck.
But he's not the only buck on the hill.
That buck. I mean, that's a nice 4, but I mean, you see some of the bucks that we've seen the last couple days, and wait, let's see. No, that's a big 4 point. Where's the other one at?
While making a game plan to put a stalk on the bigger buck that vanished moments before,
We gotta figure out how we can. There's a deer.
he reappears, coming down the hill hot on a doe.
You're pulling that doe out. You on him? Oh, that's a good buck. We almost moved. He kept singling out one doe.
I heard you took off safety and I was like, oh God. Shot a huge deer.
I know. All right, let's go up there.
Heck yeah.
Oh, I love it. Looks like a good one. Good eye guards. Look at this.
Look at him.
Wow. Look at this. Oh, he's all tangled up. Nice. Huge. Look at how thick that is. Sweet. I ranged him before I shot. 280 yards. Pretty steep uphill. Smoked him. That makes me happy right there. Can't ask for anything better than that for a Washington buck. But I owe this buck probably to the scouting that we did.
Yeah.
Me and Amy. What, how many trips? 3 trips over here?
3 trips over in the summer.
Camping and scouting and learning the roads and learning the trails, and you know, we had plans for if there was too much snow and we couldn't get here or there or whatever.
We didn't really know what to expect.
One thing that took us by surprise on this hunt is the fog. We've been fighting the fog, but luckily it cleared up this morning. BBD. Dandy.
I know.
Jesus.
The Best of the West is brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation, Cryptek Camo, Hawkins Precision, Defiance Custom Actions, Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable, Huskamaw Optics, and LongRangeStore.com. Welcome back. We're in Mexico with Bob Foulkrod as he searches for a trophy desert sheep in the rugged country of Tiburon Island. Bob has seen a lot of sheep so far, but the rough terrain and the heat have made the stalks very difficult. A few mornings later, they're glassing into a brand new part of the island.
Hunt this area, see what we find. A lot of glassing, a lot of looking, a lot of walking. That's sheep hunting. We're just going to keep driving down through and looking on both sides. We're right in a big old bowl right now. See if we can't find one of them rams.
With only a few days left to hunt, the pressure was setting in to find a shooter ram. Little did Bob know, things would look up just over the next ridge.
He's not a young one. He went to the other side. He got him, amigo.
Nice heavy boomed off sheep. And we were second guessing ourselves when we were looking at it. Nice sheep. That's my fourth desert sheep. We climbed and looked and glassed and sat in the heat. It's been running 105, 110 in the daytime. Nothing wrong with that sheep right there. That's a beautiful sheep. Trust me, if you can kill a deer at 300 yards, you can kill a sheep at 500.
With the proper paperwork and site ease permits in order, the exporting and transporting process for Bob's ram will be a breeze. Congratulations, Bob, on a trophy Tiburon Island desert sheep. We'd like to give a special thank you to J&M Safaris and all of the guides for making this Best of the West adventure a success.
I was too excited, man. Then I saw the eye guard. He's a shooter, man. You gotta shoot him.
Does anybody have a spotting still? I'm really enjoying myself. This one's happening.
He had the wind, he had the range, he had a rest, and he could comfortably and easily squeeze that trigger. As the largest Coues deer outfitter in the country, I had a lot of apprehension when a few of my lead guides asked me and invited me to go down to Mexico in Sonora to partner with them on a Coues deer hunting operation. I joked with my wife saying, I think I'm going to book this trip down there to Mexico and I'm going to pay full price. And she said, why would the largest Coues deer outfitter in the world pay full price to go on a Coues deer hunt? When it comes to hunting Coues deer, it's an optics, optics, optics hunt. You'll often see me with big glass on a tripod, and I'll never go anywhere without my Husqvarna 10x42s around my neck. You're looking for the twitch of an ear, the sun glistening off the tip of an antler, maybe the flagging of the tail. Even though it's the rut and bucks are on their feet more, the reality is a Coues deer is called the gray ghost of the desert for a reason. George was real emphatic. We're gonna glass every single one of these fingers. But remember, they had told me, as a guide, you're gonna know when you're seeing a good buck or a great buck, and I felt like this was a great buck. I talked George in very calmly. We're sitting there in the side-by-side, ice and rain coming down, and finally George got an eyeball lock on this buck, and he just turns, get your gear, get your gun, get your gun, get your pack. This is the buck you're gonna shoot, and you're gonna shoot it now. George says, as soon as you got a shot, as soon as you've got a shot. And I just kept checking with George, 500 yards, double check the range. And finally that buck turned broadside, was watching his doe go over a hill, and George says, it's now or never.